Yeah, we're a little behind schedule tonight, but it is all good. It's all good. Done. Redirecting to YouTube. I'm gonna have to cut out all of this part right here.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's okay though. It is okay. There we are, brother. Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. We are live. We're on YouTube tonight. Go ahead and there we go. Yeah, we're gonna make the adjustment as we go. All right. Woo! You know what? It's amazing to me how the Father does what he does. I really was impressed to go this route. And I think, I really hate the word think. I am certain that there are things that the Father requests of us that are challenging on purpose, because it's a constant reminder of the reality that nothing that he calls us to is going to just simply be easy, right? Nothing that he calls us to do. And this is not, for me, because I'm tech savvy, this is not a huge hurdle. However, it's not like what I was doing before. The other softwares I was very familiar with, both of those platforms. And so it was easy for me to go ahead and just create what I was going to create for the aesthetic of it, and then just press the button and have everything already in there. This is extra work. But at some point, I'll become very proficient in this even, right? But because things are consistently and ever evolving and ever changing, we will always come to a place where there's a bit of a challenge as we are evolving. There's a bit of a pressure, something that is pressing against us as we're moving forward. Today was an amazing day. For the last couple of days, I was kind of really in chill mode, which is not normal for me because I'm always working on something, always doing something. And like I was telling you before I jumped on, I don't think we were live yet, but I was fixing my mother-in-law's plate. And as I was fixing her plate, I bent down to put it on the tray and my back went, whoop. It was just gas. I've experienced this before, so I know what I'm dealing with, and it was gas. And it was like my back, I couldn't stand up straight for a minute. And I was like, okay, I got to go live tonight. Like, this is not going to work. We can't be bent over. We can't be bent over at the waist tonight. That's not going to work. That's not going to go over well for a live. But I say that to say this, that the time that we're in, the hour that we're in, is going to be riddled with challenges. But we're going to a place that we have never been before. We're going to a place that we have prophesied. And I want to get ahead of myself because I do have a word that I want to give to the body tonight. And it was a word that was kind of just stirring in me even before I got on the live. So I simply wrote it out before I got on the live. But we're in a place we've never been before. We're going to places we've never been before, physically been. We've spiritually seen some places, some dimensions. We've spiritually heard the oracles of Yah, giving us the clarity of moving forward and what we were going to experience. Quite similar to, and this will be in the prophetic word, quite similar to that of how Moshe processed through the journey, right? The Father gave him some intel. He gave him information. He understood why he was going back to Egypt. He understood the purpose of that. He understood what was going to be next. He said, you're going there to be a deliverer. You're not just going back to join the crew, right? You're going there to be a deliverer. And so you're going to be challenged. I need you to learn these things that I'm teaching you. I need you to be challenged by things you've never seen before, things you've never done before. I need you to even be challenged by the reality or the awakening to the fact that things that you've seen before that you may not or may have done, but because of another situation, that I operate and in a way that darkness mimics me. I don't know if that was you. Did you understand what I was saying, brother? That the Father operates in a way that darkness mimics. But when darkness mimics it, the reason why it's darkness, the reason why it's twisted, the reason why it's wicked, the reason why it's evil is because of the purpose of it being used, because of the outcomes, because of the, what's the word I want to use here? Intention and the source, that what it's connected to, right? And I often use the concept of Moshe and the magicians, Pharaoh's magicians. They were doing the same thing. What made what Pharaoh's magicians were doing different than what Moshe was doing? You know, he was given an instruction, and his instructor was the source of everything. So he was in compliance with what he heard and what he saw. And we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, because we've been living in a rigid idea. We've been living in a rigid ideology of who Yah is. So the only thing that we hear is obedience, obedience, obedience. But you can't obey something you've never heard, and you can't obey something you've never saw. Right? So those are two of the areas of our senses that the Father is really adamant about in this season, because you got to see and you got to hear what he's saying and what he's doing in order to follow. Because when you hear something, hearing, the frequency of hearing moves us to activity. So a lot of people, their issue is not that they're just rebellious. They are rebellious, but the rebellion is there because they refuse to hear and they refuse to see. It's not just about the activity, because there's a lot of people doing activities, right? And I'm going to share this prophetic word in a minute, but it's a lot of people doing activities, but activities don't denote that you're in alignment, if that makes sense. It is the intention of the heart. It is who you are internally, who you are at the root and the core of who you are, your heart and your mind, what it is aligned with, that determines whether who you are is righteous or wicked. It's not just the activities. You know what I'm saying? I got my brother on with me tonight. I'm always excited to have my twin on tonight. We that's our little phrase. We always play those games about twins. So if you hear me say that, or you hear him slip and say that, we ain't hiding. Okay, we not hiding. But I love sharing this time with him, and I'm glad to have him on tonight to share this time with us. And I'm going to give him the floor so he can just introduce himself and say good evening to you guys before we jump on this train and go to our destination.
Well, it's always a plump, pleasing pleasure to be with my sister and my twin, as she said we deal with, and
yeah.
I'm excited about tonight again. Apostle Ace, for some that probably listen already know some of the regulars, and for those who will be coming on, that's who I am, Apostle Ace. Got different titles and things like that, so I can move in and out with certain things. But I love having conversation with my big sister. she's the boss. She's the boss. Yes, but I just love having a conversation with her, with you guys. I love having a conversation because there's much things that comes out in conversation. We learn, even as I with you today. I'm as a student teacher. There's things I teach about, but I'm ever learning. I'm forever learning. So whatever comes out of her belly, I'm learning some things on tonight as well. And so, and I'm quite sure you as well. And so let's get ready, put our seatbelts on, and let's go for that ride.
Go. Listen, welcome everybody to the congregation. This is preparation, and this is why we're not doing like the 3 and 4 hour thing, because this is really preparation for Pesach. I did put the dates up. The 31st, I believe, through the 7th are the real dates. I was counting from the 10th day when I was counting earlier. So it is the 31st through the 7th Those are the dates for Pesach this year. So go ahead and mark your calendar so that you'll be ready to connect with us and to join us for that time of fellowship. It's going to be amazing. We're going to continue the conversation of the technocratic mandate, the hybrid situation. We're going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff during this time. And I want to give you guys this word because it is burning me up. Do you hear me? It is burning me up. And I definitely understood when I was, a little bit challenged earlier with the whole gas thing. I was like, wow, okay. And I just knew in my heart, I said, yeah, this ain't how this gonna end today, because I have a responsibility. I have a mandate. I have something that I've been given to do. And the fact that the Father told me I had to do the 11th and the 25th. See, this is, you got to read between the lines sometimes when I'm talking, because you'll get a lot out of in between the lines too.
Yeah.
The reality is I was trying to get out of doing both days. Remember I told y'all this last week? So because he said, no, you're going to do both days. I want you to do both days. Then when I had the issue with the gas in my back that felt like almost paralyzing, right? I knew in that moment, this is not how this day is going to end, because I have something to do, right? You can't, I'm saying that to say, in this moment, as we're being moved into the places that the Father has declared we're going into, you cannot be moved and defeated by the challenges that come. They are most certainly going to come. I'm telling you, I was bent over at my waist. I set the plate down and it was like, like ain't no getting up. Like it's a wrap. Like for real. And so instead, I kind of tried to move like it was affecting my legs and everything, because if you move your legs, depending on where the gas is located, you're kind of affecting other parts. It's affecting other parts of the body. So I'm trying to move my legs. My legs was like, nope. So I just I squatted down, to try to change my position, because what I wasn't gonna do is get locked in that position, right? You say, what does got to do with spiritual things? Everything. Because you got to learn how to move. You got to learn how to be liquid in the thing that you've been called to do. You can't get stuck. You can't get stuck. So I squatted down. So I'm on, my feet are flat. And I'm in squat position, right? And when I stood up, I stood straight up. Now, I still feel a little bit of the tension in my back, even as I'm speaking with you right now. I'm not in pain. You see, I'm agile. I walked down here, I walked up the stairs. But when I got up from that position, I stretched out on the arm of the couch just to try to, but you gotta move. You gotta be nimble. You know what I'm saying? You can't get stuck. I don't know how many times I have to say this. This is a big moment for the sons of Yah. And you can't be overtaken by simple things. This is part of what this conversation is about. And it sounds so simple, but he said, I use the foolish things to confound the wise. Oh, we're going to get deeper tonight. Sure. I'm going to be Apostle Lee all day long. I'm going to say stuff. Okay. But right now, this is the simplicity of the reality that we're walking in right now. The most simplest things are apt to confound many people. Because your senses, part of your senses is your ability to understand from what you're picking up in an environment, right? When I see something, I'm sensing with my eyes. Or if I hear something, I'm sensing with my ears. If I feel something, that's touch, right? I'm sensing with how I am feeling, right? But I have to have an understanding also. And all you're get understanding is not just about, it's a spiritual thing, but it covers everything. It covers everything. So in the moment that I was challenged, I understood that I was going to do the live tonight. Now, it doesn't mean that what went through my mind was not, oh boy, am I going to have to cancel this? In my mind, I didn't say it out of my mouth, but in my head, I heard you might have to cancel. But out of my mouth, I said, this was a mandate. I can't get stuck here. This was a mandate. So it has to be done. right? It has to be done. This is the difference between you stepping into the promised dimensions that the Father even utilized you. You're going to hear it in the prophetic word, even things that he utilized you to reveal, the things that he revealed to us, that he used us to say. We have to be held to the same standard of what we're speaking to other people. It's not just something that, and that's definitely the difference between, it's the difference between performance and production is what it is. Because anybody can perform if they are proficient in performance, which is we live in that age. There's a proficiency in performance, but producing is what the Father called us to do. He called us to produce something. That's what dominion is. That's what it is in every sense of the word. Dominion is about production. It's about multiplication. It's about replicating yourself, right? In people that you're coming into contact with. You said this last week, and I want you to say it again if I can hit on it right. When we were talking about how people are missing the opportunity and they're looking for something outside of them, we began to talk about the door. We began to talk about fire. We began to talk about the elements. And you said, I am the door. And a lot of religious people would be thrown off by that, brother. They would scream, heresy, because they're stuck understanding of the purpose by which the master came. Is appointment in us, the hope of glory. You said, oh, the word says Christ. Christ means appointment. It's not a last name. It's not a first name. It's about appointment. So he's saying to us, he turns around and says, appointment in you. That's what I came for. I came because I had an appointment with earth. We're here because we have an appointment with earth to fulfill a mandate. And a lot of times we're missing those moments because we are challenged by the simplest of things. And we get stuck right there. We get stuck right there. Go ahead and share, brother. I'm pulling up the prophetic word right now.
Oh, I'm ready for the prophetic word. I'm ready.
Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tonight, and you'll see it when I put up the thumbnail. Part of what I want to talk about tonight is the devastation of almost. Y'all ready for that? The devastation of almost. And this is what he gave me, because this is a producing hour, okay? We are in the hour of producing, not performing. And this is the hour many have prophesied about. They've declared, they've fasted, they've written about it. But do not assume, this word is heavy. I'm gonna need y'all to put y'all seatbelts on, for real. Do not assume, the Father said, that being used for revelation guarantees participation in demonstration. I hope you're hearing me clearly. Do not assume it. It would be dangerous to assume that. Revelation announces, but it is your capacity that sustains. And we were entrusted with words, but that does not automatically qualify you for the weight of the words. That's WEIGHT. Entrusted with words, being entrusted with words does not automatically qualify you for the weight. Demonstration is not assured by gifting. We talked about this a little bit last week, where everybody's like, ooh, we want to see the signs and wonders again. And people are so locked into what was demonstrated in the Old Testament, what was demonstrated. They're locked in. But what the demonstration was about context and principle. And so we miss the context and the principle because we want the performance. We want the moment. But guess what? He parted the Red Sea in the scripture. Now we can ride over the Red Sea in a plane. He gave somebody vision to build a whole plane. And they still going over the Red Sea. There's just no need to part it. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that he does has a purpose. And the same weight of that purpose is visible in this age, but we're looking for something that's more exaggerated. And if we don't see the exaggeration of the demonstration, we're missing the context and the principle often. I talked about this last week about the signs and wonders. That's a part of who we are as believers. We don't need to be waiting to see. That needs to be our operation, right? So it is assured, the demonstration is not assured by gifting. It's assured by your capacity to house my frequency. This is what the Father is saying. To house my frequency uninterrupted, undiluted, uncontaminated by the noise of the age. That's a challenge within itself, but it is a decision. So Moshe, I mentioned him, stood on the precipice of the promise. He declared it. He confronted Pharaoh. He split waters. He shepherded millions, and yet he did not enter. He didn't enter. Do not think that because I use you to bring others into a place that you are automatically a shoo-in for the destined inheritance. Function does not equal formation. Usage does not equal union. This is heavy. This is serious. We are in such a serious time, and I'm sorry, I don't apologize that I don't have a word about cars and houses. The Father's more concerned about your capacity tonight. This place is not for the impressive. It is for the broken. In other words, we can't impress the Father. We're his creation. We can't impress him, right? A lot of people are looking to impress him. You see all I'm doing? All the things, and he can't be impressed. He's looking for broken. He's looking for that position. Biblically, broken is not about fragility either. That Hebrew word is dakah. It means to be crushed, to be pulverized, reduced to powder. In Psalm 34:18, it says, the Father is near to the brokenhearted and saveth such as be of contrite spirit. Contrite is the word ruach, crushed in spirit, humbled in inner disposition, contrite in what we're releasing, contrite. We are broken, we are crushed, we are humbled. We're not just saying stuff, we're not just doing stuff, but we understand that if we humble ourselves under the mighty hand of Yah, he will exalt us. We're not looking to be impressive or to perform so that we have some kind of elevation or some kind of recognition. I had somebody this week, it was funny because it just came back up in my spirit. And I will say it real briefly. It was funny because people often say things to try to impress you to get you to do stuff. Right? That's not going to work. Your senses have to be trained enough to know that when you hear somebody trying to impress you, to push you into a position, you got to know, okay, I see what that is. That you're trying to impress me. You want me to do something. You want me to perform. And so because you want me to perform, you're going to give me something that's going to put me in a position where I feel the urge to do something because I want that outcome. No, thank you. If the Father didn't give it to me, if he's not telling me to do it, then I'm not doing that. Also in Isaiah 57:15, he said, I dwell in the high and holy place with him also that is of contrite and humble spirit. It's talking about the positioning. It's talking about the location that he's already prepared for us. The Bible also declares that we sit at the right hand, right? We're seated in heavenly places, far above principalities and powers and rulers of darkness of this world, all of that, right? But contrite does not mean weak. It doesn't mean weak. It means yielded. And that's the place that the Father is looking for. He's looking for the yielded space. He's looking for the sons that are yielded, that don't just say, oh, well, I know how to do that. Well, I can do that, right? Because all I got to do is this, that, and the other. Sure, planning is great. However, we got to still leave the room for Holy Spirit to say, no, we're not going that way today. We're going this way. No, you studied that. That stuff is locked in place. That's for you to have something that puts you in a position to be, he said, study to show yourself approved. You're approved because you have gone through the process to be approved. right? You're approved because you've walked through the process to get the stamp on you and say, okay, you get it, you got it, now go. Now, when you go, though, understanding that yielding to the Holy Spirit, yielding is what's going to take you where you need to go for the purpose of whatever it is that you're called to. Moshe could have said, well, okay, I got it. He showed me how to put my hand in my coat, take it out, it's leprous. You know, we could just take anything that the Father gives us, shows us how to do, and just start doing stuff because we think that we understand the purpose. He gave me a word today. Wait, I'm gonna hold it. He said, assume nothing, ask for everything. We're gonna come back to that. He said, assume nothing, but ask for everything. He also said that we are not, this is the other thing he said, we're not asking because we don't have or possess it, but because we don't know it. I hope y'all getting what I'm saying to me. He said, we're not asking because we don't possess it. We're asking because we don't know it yet. There are things that he has put in us that we don't intimately know yet. His kingdom is so vast. Just like when he speaks a word, the depth of his words is so many layers. We got people that's trying to figure him out by just surface. You know, this is what the Bible said. So this is what the Bible said here. And then this is what we going to do here. What's the revelation of what was spoken? Do you understand the depth, the breadth, and the width of what was spoken there? Or are we just going to take something and just start running with stuff and start creating doctrines off of what we read without any understanding? This is why we're in the place that we are now. This is why in history, this has been repeated over and over again. We're at that same place right now with the Sadducees and the Pharisees. It's always the industrial religious complex. That is the problem. In every age, in every hour, because where the industrial religious complex is, that's what gives or feeds the political systems. You guys think it's the other way around, but it's not. Because when the people that are claiming to know him are not positioned properly and are easily swayed and will do anything for recognition and all of that, right? And are part of a system that is bringing the people into captivity and darkness, then it's always got to be the thing that we're being challenged by and that we're being formed to challenge, right? Okay, I'm gonna go back to the word. Hold on. Let me pull it all together. I need my multi-screens for real to do everything I'm doing in this season. It's so serious. So contrite doesn't mean weak. It means yielded. It means reduced from self-sufficiency. And it means refined from ego. Oh boy. Refined from ego. This place is prepared for those who stay continuously broken. You're not talking about you being shattered. You're not talking about you being traumatized, although that is a lot of what's going on in the earth right now. Even with people that say they are believers or say they are anybody in the body, they are traumatized and they're living from a place of trauma. He's talking about surrender, that yielded place, right? So the crown is not wild abandon. We're seated in heavenly places. We're king's kids. We used to say that all the time coming up, right? That's what we knew. We king's kids. We are royalty. But the crown is not wild abandon, a position for wild abandon. You got to remember, even with the kings of the Old Testament, they were mandated, here we go with mandates, to read Torah, not just to read it, but to write it in their own penmanship. Talking about the righteous kings. They were commanded to write Torah in their own penmanship. Why? Because they needed to be accountable, not just operate with wild abandon. So the crown is structure. It's bounds. It's discipline. It's self-governance. It's boundaries. A crown without boundaries becomes tyranny. So Paul called himself a servant, but more than that, he called himself a bond servant. Romans chapter 1, verse 1, he uses the word doulos, which means bondservant, one willingly bound. This goes back to broken and contrite. It's a willingness to yield, right? And then in Acts chapter 20, we see it again. And now behold, I go bound in the spirit. Bound does not mean restricted. It means tethered to purpose. Freedom without alignment just becomes chaos. And that's what we're looking at all around us every day. But it's the alignment, our proper alignment, that produces dominion. That's what produces dominion according to how the Father defined it. So here we go. Don't think that it's strange, because there is no race won without strain. There's no battle forged without contending. We see that in Peter chapter 4, right? Think it not strange concerning the fiery trials. You got other verses that talk about, listen, no man goes to war by himself in his own. He's not calling himself to war. The Father's calling you to that war. So therefore, he's going to provide the instrumentation. He's going to provide the weaponry. He's going to provide everything that's necessary for you to go into that battle. Ease is not a kingdom promise. And I'm so exhausted of believers thinking that ease is a kingdom promise. He didn't promise us ease. He promised us refinement. He promised that we could become. That's evolution. That's what was promised. So the devastation of almost, this is what we're going to be talking about, happens when people expect comfort instead of contending. If you're expecting comfort instead of contending, because you can get to a place where it is easy because you know what to expect, right? It's like playing a video game. If you got levels to the video game and you played the video game a couple of times, you died the first round every time, like 3 or 4 times. You died and you had a couple lives and you lost all of them first round. But the more you do that character, the more you're playing that game, you're going to get past the first level. You know why? Because you expect to be contended with. You expect it. So now because you've been there and you've seen some things, now you can navigate differently. Because you've been in this place. You've seen the board. Oh my God. When a Father allows you to see the board, when he allows you to go through that process, go through those levels, then when you get in that thing, you don't get stumped in the level no more, on level 1 no more. You might get contended with on level 2 a little different, but you're going to be challenged on level 1 still. But you have the understanding of how to use your weapons. You understand the playing field. You have a different perspective. So it becomes a place of ease, right? Like David with Goliath. Seemed like a hard thing to kill a giant, right? Yeah, if you're trying to figure it out for yourself. But if you're just following the instructions, if you can hear, and it don't have to make sense to you, but if you can hear, you'll go by the brook and get the 5 smooth stones, stick them in your bag. You got your slingshot that you've been using to kill the lion and the tigers and the bears, oh my, right? Now you got this giant. They were out strengthening you. Now you got this thing that's taller than you. It's still out strength. It's still more strength. If you look at the height and say, oh, this is much big. No, that lion could have devoured him. The bear could have ripped him apart. This thing is just taller, but it's still subject to fall because we can hear, because we can see. So the devastation of almost happens when people expect comfort instead of contending. And this hour requires resistance training. It requires soul discipline. Yeah, he restores our soul, but when he restores you, what are you doing with your mind, your will, and your emotions? Right? This hour requires frequency purification. Well, how do you cleanse your frequency? How do you do that? It's about proximity. It's about the presence. What are you allowing to be the presence that surrounds you? My mother-in-law said something to me this morning that was so amazing, and it's true. The Father is surrounding me with people in this season that are where I'm going. Whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whatever it is, he's surrounding me with people that are already where I'm going. Why? Because they know the playing field. Do y'all know that mentorship is a real thing? And it's a thing that people take really lightly, or they say really lightly, but you don't Teachers are held accountable to another level. So at the end of the day, don't raise your hand to be nobody's mentor if you haven't allowed yourself to be mentored by the Spirit, right? It's a dangerous place to be in this season. The wisdom of this hour, the wisdom I declared to the Hebrew children was not mystical, the Father said. It was simple. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 6, you remember this verse? He said, keep therefore and do them. He's talking about what he commanded, what he spoke in their ears. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. What does he mean, your understanding? It means they're going to understand why you're where you are, because you keep and do the things that I'm calling you to do. I'm going to set you in a position as a kingdom of priests. You're going to direct the nations back to me. This is what everything that we're doing is about. This is about what the marketplace is about. This is about what we're doing right now, which is sharing the word. All of these things have the same weight and outcome, which is bringing the people back to him. He said, your wisdom is your obedience. But we're going to talk about that a little bit, because people just rigidly deal with obedience, right? But what they're missing is, the issue is that you refuse to heed it. The issue is that you refuse to see. So you're not going to be able to follow something that you refuse because you don't want to change, or you refuse because you want to do it your way, right? Your wisdom is obedience. Your wisdom is not about your inspiration. It's not about your charisma. It's not about your platform. He said, keep what I say and just do it. Keep what I say. That is the wisdom of governance. He talked about your senses, and he said it 3 times. He said, your senses, your senses, your senses. That means he's very serious about our senses. He said, this is what I am after. Hearing purified. You know how you purify your hearing? Because when you hear what you hear, you got to understand, first of all, none of the thoughts that you have are your own thoughts. I know that sounds crazy, but they're not. They're coming from someplace. But it's your job as an Elohim to decipher what you're hearing is coming from. This is why the word says in Ephesians, you have to arrest the thoughts. He said, bring every thought into captivity. I call it arresting your thoughts and interrogating it. You need to arrest that thought and say, where is this coming from? Here's the truth of the matter. Everything you think ain't right. Everything you do ain't right. You understand what I'm saying? Just because it's habitual, just because you say it all the time, just everything we think and do is subject to heaven's scrutiny. We have to identify where we are and know why we're doing what we're doing. He said, hearing purified, seeing clarified, discernment sharpened. Romans 12 speaks about the renewal of the mind. Hebrews 5 speaks of the senses being exercised, right? If your senses are hijacked by the age, you will almost enter. Almost. You got to yield them. And you'll understand the freedom to choose the thing that multiplies. Not everything available multiplies. Not every open door is alignment. Not every enhancement is advancement. We live in the age of enhancements in a way that we've never seen before. Neuralink is serious. You hear what I'm saying? They taking out a piece of your brain to input a device and then closing your head back up. That's serious. Enhancements are serious. They've been talking about super soldiers for years, right? Not every enhancement is advancement. Not for the kingdom's sake. Yield your senses, and you'll discern what increases life. Because this is not an hour of spectators, it's an hour of embodied governance. That's where we are right now. That's the word that he gave me to give to the people tonight. I mean, the word of Yah, the prophetic, what we call the prophetic word. Brother, please say something.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Listen. What else is there to be said?
What thing stuck out to you? What was utmost?
Well, the thing that just it came at the last minute because I'm listening, I'm hearing the word.
Yes.
I'm hearing the word.
Yes.
And what came back to me was at a time I said to myself, I said to someone else, I'm tired of living this lie.
Yes. Yes.
And at the same time, I said I give up my choice
Yes.
to choose.
Yes.
I gave up my choice to choose.
Yes.
And many people looked at that and says, well, he gave us the ability to choose.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, you got to understand where did it come from? Where did that ability to choose come from?
That's right.
Because if you're looking at the garden and where he came from and entered into, because as a created before formed, he had the ability to, he chose.
Mm-hmm.
He chose.
Yeah.
And how did he begin to lose that ability to choose? Because of things that was there that challenged him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he had the obedience, but something was missing.
Mm.
But when he formed him and then put him in a garden, a place,
Mm.
he was no longer the same in spirit, mind, and body. His governance was not of himself.
That's right.
Because I said in Genesis chapter 1, he said, you're going to be, I'll give you rulership.
Mm-hmm.
That means you will have rulership. You're making decisions.
Yeah.
With the what you have rule over.
Mm.
But yet something went wrong. Something went wrong when he began to lose and begin to fight entities that came to distract and to take that away.
Mm.
Then Yah formed, created, what did he create? He created a immortality kingdom.
Yeah.
Which is the garden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He got him right, got his mind right,
Mm-hmm.
filled him with his spirit,
Yes.
and said, now, this is what you're going to do. Instructions.
Mm. Hear me.
Hear me.
Mm.
You're going to hear me.
Mm.
Then what you're going to do is then do it.
Hear then do.
That's what you're going to do. So you got this, you got my thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
but now I want you to be expressive of my thoughts and say, now I want you to work this and do this. But he couldn't do it alone. He had to have something that was inside of him already of his own kind and say, now, I'm going to do what I'm going to do of your own kind, come from you, is who you are, to be an expression of the thought. Your thoughts, she expressed, because you can't do this all by yourself. You can't. So it's too much for you just to do this by you, to follow my instruction, because you obeying me, but there's a war going on in your obedience in that place.
Mm-mm-mm.
Already. But the war is going, what was happening, and that war is taking place because of your obedience. There's some things I can do and fight with the kingdoms outside of this place that I put you in.
Yeah.
Because now because here's the things that you got to do, but yet the place that you're in has to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the expression. Here's the wisdom that I'm going to give you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the wisdom that I'm going to give you. And this wisdom that I'm going to give you now it's going to help you because of your obedience. Without this, it's going to be hard for you to obey. It's going to be hard for you to follow instructions because you can't do it by yourself. There's a war that's taking place. There's things that are taking place outside of this garden. But as long as you are in this garden, then everything, this battle is not yours, as you said. The battle is not yours, but it's mine. It's my battle. So the battle that has to take place has to deal with governing and the expression of governing. Spirit and truth. It always comes back to that.
It always comes back.
Here's the truth, which governs. And here's the spirit that is governed. But it's an expression.
Yes.
It's the expression of government. It's the same thing, but one is the expression of what is there, concrete. And so therefore, we have, excuse me, we have this situation that in this garden place, that as long as you are hearing, following instructions, then your expression will follow all at the same time. But the point that I'm getting to is that the war was going on all along, because there's an entity that infiltrated that space that look as an angel of light. But it was a light, but it didn't empower you with the frequency and the energy. It took away from you. It took your energy, took that frequency. So infiltrated. And so where did it go? It went to the wisdom first.
That's it. That's it.
So let's go to the wisdom. Because if we go to the wisdom, then the truth don't have what it takes to fight anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because now there is a breach.
Yes.
And because of the breach, here's the thing, that when Yah, being the covering in that space, baptized, covering in that space, because in that space there was that was a baptism because of the glory
yes
that they were under.
Yeah.
So when it was violated, then there was that breach. Did he know right from wrong when, as a created person? Yes, he did.
Oh yeah, he do.
But when he became formed, everything changed. Because that's why y'all talk to him. There's things I don't want you to do to eat from the tree of the knowledge of righteousness and evil. You know this. Here's the tree of life. And then there's everything else you can eat to live. But yet at the same time, here is this information. If you take this and mix it up, you're going to die. Then that happened. Then he said, you become, now here's the thing. Who he was in the image and likeness already.
Yes.
He was in harmony with himself when he was just a created being. When he became formed, it became harmonized with the spirit.
Yes.
He got the spirit. He had wisdom was poured into him that changed everything. Then wisdom came out from him so that they can live they can live this life. And Yah said to him, you become as a demigod, because with me, you who I am. So you are, we say El, you are of Yah, of who I am. You are the I am in the earth.
That's right.
You are the Yah in the earth.
Yeah.
But when things took place, you became a demigod. You didn't lose who you are. You just became one that know right from wrong.
Anti.
Absolutely. So therefore, now here's the ability. I'm going to you got the ability now again to make right from wrong. Because as a creator, as a ruler over these things, you made decisions.
Yeah.
But now, here as you have been changed, you've gone back to that state of making decisions without me.
Come on.
And because you've done this, everything that you do is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
In the space that you're in, there's things going to have to take place. But now I'm taking you out of this space to work. You can't, your place where you're at, you've lost that place. And because you've lost that place, you're on your own. But there's some things that has to take place. There's some demonstrations has to take place. There's the sacrifices and things like, as you were saying, people look on the appearance, the rituals, outside the rituals, but where he brought us today, he said, no. That's done away with. We have transitioned into that space that I've called you to, coming back, like you said, the simplicity of things. If we don't get that, we will never get it.
We'll never get it.
We be tossed to and fro.
Yeah.
With every wind and doctrine.
Yeah.
We be loosey-goosey, immature, looking for something to say, look, I did this, and I did that, and I did it exactly how you wanted to. Oh, so do I get a cake? Do I get a car? Do I get a house? Well, what do I get?
Right.
He said, I love your sacrifice, but that's the obedience to me is greater than that. So your obedience becomes greater because of wisdom. And without the wisdom, your obedience puts you in trouble. You fight, you're going to fight hard. So here we are today. And he's bringing us back to this space. That is a space of, yes, it's a space of governing, but it's not going to be like you see it. Because if you want to see it, we walk by faith and not what we see anymore. Right. We see. And it's interesting when you think about animals of prey. You mentioned about David, the lion, the bear, the giant. That's so very prophetic. Because when you get in Daniel, they're talking about the bear, the lion, and then ultimately the fourth one becomes the giant, a mixture of all of that together.
Where we are, iron and clay.
Today.
Yes.
Iron and clay. And so that goes into technology and humans coming together and being as one. What we're dealing with today. So when we think about these animals of prey, they prey on the lesser animal.
Yes.
And it's interesting because they're bullies, but it's something how the prey.
Yes.
The prey. The rabbit and the different ones that just seem like, but it's something that what Yah does. The eyes is on the side of it. Most of the eyes is on the side of their head.
That's it.
Because it's equipped to spot the enemy.
Come on now. Come on.
To spot the enemy.
Peripheral vision.
Absolutely. But, and that gives the advantage to move at this. But if you can't see,
ooh, come on.
If you can't see, then the bear, the lion, the leopard that we see as the animal that will come and devour.
The predator.
The predator will devour. And so we always been counted as sheep for the slaughter. But if we don't see, can't spot the enemy, because the very thing is, you're talking about seeing and the hearing. If we don't see it, what's going to happen? If you can't hear it, but anyway.
My God. When you were talking, the scripture, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, came up. And what is government but a responsibility? The government shall be upon his shoulder. Many people would think, oh, that's talking about the people that are against him. No, it's talking about what he has the capacity for. He has the capacity to carry. Now, what the Father did with us is he put an unshakable kingdom in us. But all this is talking about is the capacity, the weight.
The weight, like you said, the weight.
The government. Government will be what he's bearing when he comes into this appointment. Same expectation that the Father has for us in this hour, while we're carrying this unshakable kingdom. But remember, I told you that there are things. Why do we have to ask? Why do we have to seek? Why do we have to knock? Because there are things we don't know. There are things we don't know yet. We don't know. It doesn't mean that we don't have it. It doesn't mean that it's not in our possession, right? It just means that we're not aware of it. We're not aware. Only in that inquiry, only in that seek, only in having the audacity to say, hey, I need to identify, I need this to be opened up, I need this to be unpacked, right? Because the Father's showing us stuff all the time. And like, this is the other thing that came up. We don't live in an age where knowledge is not available. People's problem is not a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of hearing and a lack of seeing. It's a lack of allowing their spiritual senses to be exercised, to identify so that they have that vision. Like you're talking about, that was so powerful about the rabbit. That peripheral vision, he's smaller, he's not as strong, but because he has an advantage, he can see what's coming and make his way. Sheep amongst wolves. But in order to be sheep amongst wolves, that means you have to have a capacity. Because he didn't say sheep going into the, going by the wolf pack. He said sheep amongst. Sheep amongst. We're not the wolves. We're the sheep. But we have to allow ourselves to be clothed in this God capacity, in the Elohimic capacity that allows us to go into boardrooms, that allows us to go into spaces and confound the wolf. Make the wolf subservient. That's what we're called to.
That's the fight.
We're called to go into spaces and make the wolf, whether it's in the religious industrial complex, because there are wolves there, whether it's in the corporations, there's wolves there. I talked about this last week, and if I could go back to it, let me go back to it real quick. But what the verse talked about, I believe it was in Ezekiel. Let me pull it up real quick. He said, these are those that have created a blueprint, so to speak, of evil. The whole purpose of what they've created is a blueprint to make you a captive. And you just going on like it's nothing, business as usual. not understanding that you're a captive. Y'all, it tickles me that people still, they're whining about the slave trade, but the slave trade ain't never ended. It just transitioned. Everybody's a slave now if they don't have the understanding or the wisdom to know what to do in the situation that we're in. Everybody's a slave at this point. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up for you because I want to read it to you. Blueprint. These are they created, and it made me think about what the prophet said when he was talking about the women that created pillows. The pillows, you know what I'm talking about? When he was talking about the women that were creating the pillows for the arms, he said they're creating a way to make you comfortable with witchcraft. They're going to make you comfortable to be in these spaces and things be happening to you. You just comfortable with it. You don't know. You're clueless. You're comfortable. Comfort is your enemy in this season. If you're not allowing yourself to be challenged, if you're not allowing the pressure of responsibility to weigh in on you in this moment, you're going to be consumed. Because understand the reason why these powers that be started erasing history. You say, what you mean? Their revisionists are always at work. FB erased every video prior to now. They took all our videos down, Apostle. Every video is now gone. And any video you put on that platform is only going to be there for a short period of time. You know the amount of conversations that were had in between 2020's scam and now? They said, I'm erasing all of it. I don't want to hear none of them conversations. We're not going to leave anything up for people to go back to and to reference. We're going to move all of history to create what we want to create. We're going to remove all of it, which is a future now for them. And future is a because really we are living in eternity.
Yes.
It's a fantasy that was created, a language that was created to make you think of something in a far distance. But I want you to remember something. The woman that had the daughter that was grievously vexed with the devil. Was that the one that was grieving? No, the woman that had the daughter who was sick to death. That's the one I want to talk about. It was going to be a thing that all nations would have the opportunity to come into relationship with the Father. But the master's purpose, his appointment was not to the Goyim. It was not to the Gentiles. That was not his calling. It was not his appointment. But this woman, by her consistency, by her constant communication to him, her faith allowed her to pull something that what people call now future into her now. Future, as they have defined it, is only based on how you're functioning. It's only according to function. Because what the Father promised that was going to happen, you can bring it into right now if your faith is in position to bring that thing in. It's about capacity. It's not about time. It's all about capacity. She wasn't, it wasn't even her time. It wasn't even time for the Goyim. It wasn't his appointment. She said, even the dogs eat the crumbs. I'm not walking away. I'm not walking away till I get what I need. What are we talking about? You call me a dog, no problem. Dogs eat crumbs. Drop some crumbs so I can get them. The humility, the brokenness, the willingness to be beat to powder is what positioned her to bring what they call future into her present. But you got people who are designing blueprints to keep you a captive. And if you're not aware of that, go ahead. If you're not aware of it, you're going to get it. Go ahead. I'm going to pull this verse up.
And so when you're talking about the blueprint,
yes,
because there is a playbook. There's always been a playbook.
Always.
So we could go back to the beginning of time
on now.
and say, and what the playbook, because they build upon the playbook.
They do.
Each era builds upon the last playbook to make it better.
Playbook. They're just they're finishing the work.
That's it. Same playbook. It haven't changed. And so when we understand that here's their blueprint, here is their project, here's the playbook. So we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it that way. And the very thing is to encapsulate you, to encapture you with their playbook to control you, so that you can't see by the eye of faith. You can't hear what you was born with, because now you're listening instead of hearing, and you're seeing with both eyes, with things. And so now the playbook is very simple, but at the same time, Yahweh got a playbook.
Yes, he does.
Yah has a playbook. And so when you look at their playbook, what did they abstract out? They have to bring some truth out. They have to have some truth there to capture your attention because of truth. There's something there's a faith, there is truth within us that then it connects with us first, that truth, and then the darkness is there.
Oh my God.
And so that playbook, many folks don't understand the playbook. What they have done, they have brought them to the place, say, here's our playbook. We believe this in the religious complex, industrial complex system. Mm-hmm. The playbook, it has to have something religious in it.
It has to. That's how they capture you.
Absolutely. Without it, you'd be like, huh?
Like, no, we're not doing that.
Right. But so it has to have something that capture you on the level of religion that you're on.
Absolutely.
Whether you are Protestant, Catholic, Baptist, it's going to capture you where you're at. The playbook captures religion. Mm-hmm. It's religion.
That's
that playbook. And so and so now we're talking about the Pentecostals and all those, praise and ya ba 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 ba, all like this and everything. And we could see everything that they come across with the platform, the platforms. It is the playbook, promoting the playbook. And we got these pastors and prophets and apostles and say, hey, come on. This is it. It's right. It is right. Come on in. And they're gathering in. They're gathering in, and gathering in. And so we find ourselves, people find themselves capsulated, mesmerized by the playbook.
Oh my God.
And they're fighting each other and instead of fighting what we've come here to do.
Yes. Yeah. Confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the point that you made about that. And we're not gonna hold y'all long because I got a whole lot to say about all of this, but I'm not gonna hold myself responsible to give you everything in one setting. We got 8 whole days to get it done, right? They test the market to get it done. They test things. Remember the Father talked about in the prophetic where he talked about purity, right? And if you remember correctly, what happened in Noah's age was the impurity. What happened in Noah's age was the changing of the DNA. It was the infiltration of something that was outside of the creation of mankind. It was the invasion of the space of the DNA, the invasion of who mankind was, the invasion of what plants were, the invasion of what animals were. We're living in that time again. We're living in that time again. And be it known unto you, they're not done. with the whole scamdemic stuff. They're not done with that. Now they've moved to trying to put it in food, and now they've moved to do all these things. So you say, well, we're not safe. What we gonna do? He keeps us in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him. There's nothing, there's no evil that can befall us. There's nothing that can smite us by day. The sun can't smite us by day, and the moon cannot smite us by night. He preserves the soul of his people. But this is a mentality. And I told you guys this even after the scamdemic and the hokey pokey and all that stuff. And I was sharing with you that the Father had given a grace for those who did not understand in that moment what was taking place. The grace is, yes, there are some holistic modalities that you can come into, but it doesn't start with that. It starts with your hearing. The fact that he's preserved, he's put a thing in place to preserve you, to restore you. Until you hear that, there's no modalities that you just gonna fix anything, because then you just treat that like medication, right? Which is just to cover something up. What he's after is the clarity that needs to come to you, the understanding of the wisdom that needs to come to you to say, he's provided a way of escape. All I need to do is hear what he's saying, and then I can then, after I've heard what he said, get out of the clutches, get out of the trap, get out. Because just like we're in the age of transhumanism and hybrids, it's just a copycat of what the Father has already decided about us. He said, you'll become a new creature. Well, what is he talking about? He's not just talking about some church stuff. No, this is new DNA. This is new blood. This is the whole overhaul of who you are. Being able to understand your identity as an element, as fire, as water, as, you know what I'm saying, as earth, as wind. Being able to you are a new creature in appointment. I know it says in Christ. In appointment, you become a new creature. Outside of appointment, you die like mere men. It's just how it works. Paul said, no, you're supposed to be sons of Yah, but you're supposed to be immortals, but you out here dying like mortal men. Why are you doing that? You've been called to something much greater. You've been called to something much higher. They couldn't even boil John in hot grease. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't get rid of the guy. Paul was shipwrecked. He couldn't be gotten rid of. His appointment said that he needed to be in the earth at that moment to do everything that the appointment said needed to be done before he was going to exit stage right. Before he could exit stage right, every part of the appointment had to be accomplished. And only those who had the mind to accomplish the appointment get to stay. Because the earth was created for mankind. Be it known. So even when we get to verses like 2 shall be in the field, 1 shall be taken and another left, if you read long enough and you don't just accept what's being told to you by the industrial complex, the religious industrial complex, then you'll understand that the earth was created for mankind, and that the Father also said that he would give us to the ends of the earth for a possession. So how are you going to possess something that you don't even want to be in? How can the kingdom be given to the sons of the Most High if we didn't exited the whole world? And people still keep talking about the rapture. They still keep talking about it. You're not understanding that when the Father wanted to move Noah, he put him in an ark. He didn't take him off the earth, but he got rid of everything else that had been compromised, that was refusing to convert. Everything that refused conversion was destroyed. But he gave a man something to build, and he had to be able to hear, and he had to be able to see in order to do. He wasn't just obeying. It just wasn't random obedience. No, because see, hearing gives you what your next move is. You were talking about the rabbit. Seeing gives you what your next move is. It's automatic. You don't have to try to obey Yah. If you open up your ears and you open up your eyes and you say, I want to be led, I'm yielding. It's no, I'm going to try to obey. What are you talking about? You trying to do what? Trying to obey? You trying in your own strength to obey the Father by your own means? I ask people this all the time when they say stuff that is, and they say they're believers, and they say this is, they're saying something it's not, it's absolutely unbiblical. I say, well, what God you get that from? The one that you say you believe in the Bible, or the one that you constructed in your head? Which God you dealing with now?
Mm-hmm.
But mankind by nature, by unrighteous nature, let me be clear. Unrighteous nature doesn't like correction. The word refers to that as food, not me. He said a fool gonna devour. They're gonna be mad at you if you tell them the right thing. A fool will, but a son ain't gonna be upset if you tell him something. Son is not gonna be upset when you correct them. A son is not gonna say, "Why you saying that to me?" They're gonna say, "Thank you." Now I'm gonna pray and ask the Father to give me further wisdom on this matter so that I can come out of that mindset and step into the mindset he's declaring to me. But a fool gonna fight you. Yeah, a fool gonna fight you. You tell them they wrong, they fight. Them fighting words. Show enough fighting words. Ezekiel chapter 11, you can go read it on your time. Said, these are the men. Mm-hmm. They create blueprints for evil. Where they get the whole mindset of a blueprint? They got it from Yah. Everything that exists, it's existing because he's allowed information to come to mankind. You say, well, we're talking about the whole Daniel thing with the iron and clay. We live in an age of technology. You're going to have to transition. You're going to have to learn things because you're going to need to know it. I keep talking about feeding the beast. That's serious. What are you creating? What's the innovation? What is it that the Father is giving you? What kind of position do you need to be in to be the chain of command for everything else to go through? I'm telling you, stuff he's giving me now is chain of command stuff. It's like that stuff was already out, but he like, nope, your stuff needs to sit right there so that all of that can come through as compliance to that. How do you do that without being able to hear or see? How do you come up on that when that's not even the sector that you was born into? How do you come up on that? But you remember the dream. I keep telling y'all the dream because I want you to recognize the time that we're in. The master said, I told you these things so that when they happen, you're not tripping, right? You know that I already told you this. So when it starts happening, you're not tripping. The dream was the maps, the literary map and the map of corporations. He said, all this is going to change. He showed me all these mega corporations. He showed me all this literary stuff. And he wiped the whole map, both maps clean. All of this is getting ready to change. He started putting the suns on the map. I'm telling you, if you can hear and you can see, Yah's about to put you on the map. Not for your glory, but for his. Because he said men have to see your good works in order to glorify your Father. You're thinking that it's going to happen because you're asking them a bunch of questions about Bible and, asking them, do they know Jesus? All that stuff. He said, no, men. He said, listen, men look at the outward appearance. This is, all of these things are principles. These are principles. They're not hard. Men look at the outward appearance. Yah looks at the heart. But men need to see something. What are you doing that can bring glory to Yah? It's not just about because people get locked in. Of course, we're all very gifted. We're all very gifted. However, some gifts take precedence in certain seasons. And if you only behold to the thing that you think you know how to do, and you don't allow yourself to be launched out into the deep, you'll never catch any fish. Because you're only doing what you think you know how to do already, which part of the time we're missing the grand scheme of that too, because we haven't yet stepped into the realization of all that we carry for those specific areas, right? He's calling us to do bigger things. He's calling us to step into bigger spaces. And it's only going to happen if you can hear and you can see. What did the master say? He said, I only do what I see my Father doing. And I only say, there's a reason that he's saying that. There's a reason that that's a conversation, because it's a principle. That's how you get in the space of intimacy. Because there are things, there are words that are exchanged. There's a conversation that's had that brings you to a place of intimacy, that brings you to a place of production. If you don't follow that process, you'll never produce anything. You'll just keep performing. You'll keep performing. That's what people have longed to do. That's what people love to do. That's why so many people that say they are believers get caught up in stuff that they have no business being caught up in. They should actually be leading in those spaces when they're still following. He's calling his sons to step to the forefront, not to keep following behind what he's destroying. That can't be destroyed until we take our position. That can't come down. It can't be exposed until light enters the room, right? And I'm not saying that, it's going to be no more darkness, it's going to be no more wickedness, not as long as the earth is moving right now until he comes. Until he comes, we got to occupy. And there's going to be challenges there. We're going to be facing giants. We're going to be facing things. But the light will emerge and it will expose the darkness. But that's only if we're doing what we're called to do, what we've been mandated to do. In the technocratic movement, that mandate is about specialists in their fields being sent out with their specialties to do things that bring the people into their right position. Now, on the side of darkness, and we'll go into that during Pesach, they have a reason for why they do what they do. We just talked about it. It's to bring people into captivity. But the Father's reasoning is to bring you into dominion. Not over people, right? But men will see light and they will come to where the light is. And when they come to where the light is, whether it's your product, whether it's your service, whatever it is, product or service, that's product or service, right? You say, well, everybody not meant to have a business. No, some people are meant to fund businesses, but even in funding businesses, you got to have a source. So how do you get to that place where you can fund something? Because the women funded the ministry of the master. Where did they get money from? Where did they get it from? Somebody was running some kind of operation in order for them to be giving money out like that. Somebody was running something. Because money is currency. And currency flows. It flows. But it flows into spaces where it's connected. It's not flowing all the way into the city, right? Because there's a boundary. But that current comes in to the lane where those boundaries are. Flows in, it ebbs and it flows. Ebbs and tide, ebb and tide, right? Your positioning is everything right now. It's everything. I got a million more things I want to say to you, but I'm not going to say it tonight. I'm just not going to say it. I believe that the word that he gave was weight enough. And what brother shared was weight enough. What we've shared tonight was weight enough. Father doesn't want to overwhelm us, but I want to say this because this is important. Amos. This was one of the verses that The reason why that word was important is because Amos 13 says something really strong. He said, listen, not much longer now. One thing will be happening upon another. The Father's going to push us into such a space where one blessing is happening, the compounding of the blessing of Yah that's overtaking us. He said it's going to be so much your head's going to spin. I promise you I'm in that space. I'm trying to keep up. I'm like, oh. It's not a frantic thing. It's just like, wow. Okay, let me keep up with that. Okay, let me do this. Okay, He said one thing upon another. You asked for it. He said, ready or not, here it comes. But capacity is everything. If you have not positioned yourself to have the capacity for the level of release that's coming, it's going to drown you. You're going to be drowned by it. You're not going to be able to withstand it. You're not going to be able to ride the wave because you never learn how to surf. You know, it's like somebody going out on the waters with a surfboard and you don't know how to swim and you never surfed before. You're going to drown. This is why he's been very adamant about our senses. This is why he's been adamant over the years, over the last decade, about so many things. Your senses, your hearing, your sight, your speech, right? He taught us how to do what we're supposed to do. From the beginning, he taught us how it works. He said, God speak. Creators speak. And you've been speaking, but now the question is, what have you been saying? Right? We're in the most amazing time for mankind, for real. We are. But for many people, it's going to be the worst time. Unfortunately. It's justice. Justice is going to be served. Every dog has had his day. But justice is now going to be served. We just have to decide what side of justice we're going to stand. Brother, say something. We're going to get off of here.
Hallelujah, anyhow.
You can't give me
the word is and was powerful. Yeah, I gave you that word for the people, for us to hear. And we have to take it in.
Yeah.
You're not, we're accountable to receive it and do it. And so, because if we don't, we see immediate response to what we rejected. It's not like it's taken a long time.
Oh, no.
We see immediate judgment to what we rejected. Oh, yeah. When we reject it, then Yah says, the prophet, the apostle, I've dusted my hand, I've dusted my feet, and it's not going to be, I'm not accountable because I've done what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I said it, regardless if people like it or not. And Yah says, because you delivered yourself, you delivered that was birthed in you, and you said exactly what I wanted to say. But now it's up to the people. Yeah. And if they don't, judgment is upon quickly now. We see it quickly. The spirit of judgment is here, but we see the experience. We're experiencing judgment in such a way that it's like what's being said now, we see it. We're seeing people being judged. We see what's taking place. Recompense of reward, whether it's righteous or whether it's unrighteous. We see the recompense, and it's happening quickly. It is. So the word was given. Now it's up to us to follow it, to be obedient to what has been given, to receive it in our hearts, to receive it and to live it. And that's where we're at. So I just speak to the people who are presently live or will hear again on recording to be willing and obedient and follow instructions, hear, because there's a lot of noise out, but trust by faith. You can hear. You can hear in the midst of all the noise. You can hear and you can see in the midst of all the outside distractions of performance. I thank Yah for the word.
I thank you too. Assume nothing. Ask for everything. And we're not asking because we don't possess it. We're asking because we don't know it yet. Just remember those things. Listen, we're going to let you go tonight. I'm excited about the 31st through the 7th. I'm thankful for my brother tonight, and we're going to be going with you guys during this Pesach 6786. I told y'all a long time ago I was done with that 57 because I believe in 67. Father revealed something to me, and it's all lining up. Take everything at face value no more. I can't do it. When you show me something, I got to go with it. Got to go with it. I can't just act like it's not there, right? And I expect that there will be people that don't accept that. I'm okay with that. I'm on level 12, level 22, wherever I am. I don't know. Exceeded level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got a different level of confidence in my instruments, my weapons now, right?
Yeah.
Ask for everything. Don't assume anything. Don't do things in this season just because you think that that's the way it's supposed to be done, or because you've always done it that way. Because you might just step into a space where you are opposing what the Father desires to do. Just ask. Just ask. We'll see you guys on the 31st through the 7th for Pesach 6786. And I want you guys to remember that you are blessed. Don't you forget it. The body is not a me thing, it's a we thing. And don't be in the fantasy of future. Understand you're living in eternity. Walk it out like you know what you're doing, okay? Walk it out like you understand that you are in Kairos and not in Chronos. If you're in Chronos still, you're subject to some things. But if you're walking over in Kairos, you're going to have a confidence in this season that is going to be just amazing regardless of what's going on in the earth, okay? Don't be distracted. Stay focused. Let's get it done. Love you so much. We'll talk to you on the 31st. Love you, bro. Love you for life.
Love you forever.
Love you forever.
All right.
Next time. Shalom, y'all.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.